Angeles are warning that increasing winds could potentially result in explosive fire growth from the existing wildfires. The mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, said they were preparing for any eventuality. At least 24 people are known to have died and more than 20 are missing. Some fires continue to burn out of control.
The fire danger remains high today in parts of Los Angeles, threatening to add even more damage to the already devastating wildfires.
California's governor says this could be the most expensive natural disaster in U.S. history.
California's Palisades and Eaton fires have burned through an area larger than Paris.
In the year 2025, Los Angeles, the sprawling city known for its dazzling lights, iconic landmarks, and cultural significance, faced an unimaginable tragedy. The fire that ravaged multiple neighborhoods left an indelible mark on the city. This disaster, marked by rapid spread, uncontrollable flames, and the toll it took on human lives, property, and the environment, became one of the most devastating events in the city's history. The origin, how it all began. The fire started in a secluded area of the Angeles National Forest, approximately 15 miles north of downtown Los Angeles. On a dry, windy evening in late spring, a spark from an unattended campfire ignited the dense brush. The winds picked up rapidly, fanning the flames and sending them sprawling across the landscape. Within hours, the fire began to spread uncontrollably, moving toward the nearby residential areas. The environment and the role of weather. One of the primary contributors to the fire's ferocity was the city's climate. Los Angeles, particularly in the spring and summer months, experiences hot, dry weather, creating the perfect conditions for fires. The Santa Ana winds, strong gusts that blow through Southern California, played a crucial role in spreading the fire. With speeds reaching over 60 miles per hour, the winds carried embers across vast stretches of land, igniting smaller fires miles away from the main source. The evacuation and response. As the fire grew, local authorities sprang into action. Firefighters, emergency response teams, and even volunteers from surrounding areas were called in to battle the inferno. Within a few hours, evacuation orders were issued for thousands of residents in neighborhoods like Silver Lake, Echo Park, and parts of Hollywood. The evacuation was chaotic, with many residents scrambling to gather their belongings and flee their homes. The response from the firefighting teams was intense, with multiple airdrops of fire retardants, bulldozers clearing fire breaks, and firefighters working tirelessly around the clock. But despite these efforts, the fire's rapid spread made it clear that this was no ordinary fire. The impact on lives and property. As the fire tore through the city, it consumed thousands of homes and businesses. Iconic structures like the Hollywood sign were put at risk, but the true devastation was felt in the neighborhoods, where entire blocks were wiped out. Families lost their homes, some with nothing but the clothes on their backs. Thousands of people were displaced, and the toll on the community was immeasurable. Local hospitals and shelters were inundated with people seeking refuge, medical assistance, or simply a place to rest. In addition to the human cost, the environmental damage was staggering, as the fire destroyed acres of natural habitat, affecting wildlife and air quality in the region. The fight to contain the blaze. Firefighters from across California, including specialized units trained for wildfires, arrived in waves. The blaze became a massive, coordinated effort as teams worked to create fire breaks, set controlled burns, and fight the fire on all fronts. But the conditions were relentlessly harsh, with the intense heat making it difficult to control the flames. For several days, the fire fought back against every effort to contain it. The flames seemed to have a mind of their own, racing through neighborhoods, up hillsides, and into business districts. Every day, firefighters faced new challenges: shifting winds, difficult terrain, and the overwhelming size of the blaze. The aftermath and recovery. Once the fire was finally brought under control, the damage was already done. The total acreage burned was staggering, with millions of dollars in property damage and environmental loss. Thousands of residents were left without homes, forced to rebuild their lives from scratch. The recovery process was expected to take years, with entire neighborhoods requiring reconstruction. The city's infrastructure had been severely impacted. Roads were blocked, buildings collapsed, and businesses were destroyed. Power outages were widespread, leaving large portions of Los Angeles in darkness for days. As the fire's smoke continued to linger in the air, the health risks became apparent. Respiratory problems soared, particularly among the elderly and children. The investigations and findings. Once the fires were under control, an investigation was launched into the cause. It was determined that the initial spark came from a careless camper's fire, though additional factors, such as illegal dumping and improper disposal of waste, contributed to the speed and severity of the fire. The state government vowed to increase fire prevention measures, strengthen forest management practices, and hold those responsible accountable. A city united in recovery. In the aftermath, the city of Los Angeles came together in a show of solidarity. Donations poured in from all over the country, and relief organizations mobilized to help those affected. Volunteers helped clear debris, distribute supplies, and provide emotional support to those struggling to cope with the loss. The community's resilience became evident as people began to rebuild. Despite the deep emotional and financial wounds, the spirit of Los Angeles was not easily extinguished. People found ways to come together, share resources, and lift each other up. Many residents vowed to not only rebuild their homes, but also to create stronger, more fire-resilient communities. Long-term effects on the city and environment. In the years following the fire, Los Angeles began to implement significant changes to reduce the risk of future fires. The local government invested in new technologies for fire detection, improved evacuation plans, and increased funding for environmental protection. Meanwhile, the local ecosystem began the slow process of recovery, with efforts to restore the wildlife and plant life that had been devastated by the flames. Environmental scientists warned that the long-term effects on air quality and health could last for years, but the city worked hard to implement air purifying systems and offer medical assistance to those affected. Despite these efforts, the scars left by the fire remained visible for a long time. Lessons learned and hope for the future. The fire in Los Angeles, while devastating, brought forth important lessons for the city and the world. It highlighted the need for better preparation, awareness, and community solidarity in the face of natural disasters. It also underscored the importance of sustainable living practices, responsible environmental stewardship, and the need to address the underlying causes of climate change. In the end, Los Angeles emerged from the fire not unscathed but stronger. The recovery process continued, and the people of the city carried with them the lessons learned in the flames. The fire may have ravaged their homes, but it could not extinguish the spirit of resilience, unity, and hope that defined the city.